Alright. Here we go. 3, 2, and live.
Welcome to the tip-off with Nick, Isaiah, and myself. We are live on YouTube today, too. You can follow our Twitch, subscribe to the YouTube. It's free. We have a bunch of trades to jump into, but let's talk about the stuff that didn't happen. The Bulls go another year. 2021 was the last time that they traded a player.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I didn't even know that. That's disgraceful.
So 3 years. It's been a pretty quick downfall for them. Nick, you're the Bulls connoisseur. How are you feeling about this? Did they not know that the trade deadline was happening? Did they not get the memo?
Hey, I said 4 weeks ago, like a month ago, on here that we have no direction. The Bulls don't know what we're doing. Not a clue. I think they still believe in that whole continuity thing where our GM keeps preaching about keep them together. The longer they're together, the better it'll get. That's just not how it works. It's just some of these guys just are not getting better. DeMar DeRozan still can't hit a three. Zach LaVine still can't do anything but hit a shot with no defense. Caruso is not in the Lakers anymore. We're a dead franchise at this point. At this point, I just want to see us as the worst team in the league. Like, that would make me so happy right now compared to what we just did not do.
The confusing part is that their GM basically came out and said he did get permission from the owner to go into a rebuild, and they chose not to do it. I mean, Alex Caruso is never going to be more valuable. Andre Drummond is a guy that a lot of people had interest in. It's pretty strange. Isaiah, you got anything on it?
No, not much of anything, man. It's kind of easy to cover a team doing nothing with just a little. I do think that they, are really dropping the ball because and Andre Drummond is not going to get more valuable. Alex Caruso is not going to get more valuable. Let's keep it a whole stack. DeMar DeRozan is not going to get more valuable. He's older. Yeah. I don't know how much more Zach LaVine has to offer a franchise, and I think that's what's got them dragging their feet on the rebuild. Is they realize that they'd get younger with the rebuild. They get younger moving all those pieces, but you're not going to get much back for what you got. So I guess they're just waiting for contracts to run out for a little bit of money to open them naturally. To try,
it doesn't have the right picks to even try and go through the draft. So At what point, what do we do? If we move them, we're still going to be a bad team without being able to draft well.
Away. Just replace.
And we still can't get a good player out the draft if we do that. So what do we do?
Yeah. So moving on from them, DeJounte Murray, probably the biggest name out on the trade market that a lot of people thought was going to get moved. Didn't get moved. Woj and those guys are basically chalking it up to teams that were interested, like the Lakers, are going to have 3 draft picks to trade this summer versus the 1 draft pick they, trade just now. Another person who I'm blanking on his name made the point that they think this might actually be the start of maybe moving Trae Young, and maybe it's a retool around Murray himself. Isaiah, what do you think about that? I mean, I know you're kind of on the same page with me. It's Trae Young.
I think the Hawks are still in a precarious spot. They are dangerously close to becoming the Bulls in the way of a couple of those guys regress. Somebody gets injured or there's a contract gone, and they go from being at the bottom of the playoff or the bottom of the play-in to not even, but still not good enough, still not bad enough to draft well. Moving Trae Young is an interesting perspective on that. I think that we might be giving the Hawks GM too much credit. I think they just didn't pull the trigger. I think they bought in too much for DeJounte Murray for what they got back for him, and they expect that same thing in return because he hasn't necessarily regressed. He's not any worse than he was than when he got there. But they're just not going to get the bag that they gave up for him. The best package that they could get right now would be like Austin Reeves, Max Christie, and a pick. I think is something that I had read as possible for them. But deadline's over. They didn't move him, and they're just they're stuck. I hope that they do something with Trae Young because I feel like he's the more valuable asset of the two, but he's harder to build around. He's smaller. He's a lot more narrow on what he's good at. So they are trying not to be in no man's land by keeping DeJounte Murray, I think.
I also think that in the same way that they're like really close to becoming the Bulls, I think in the same way that they're really close to becoming the Mavericks, who I'll speak highly on later about what they do with this trade deadline. I still believe that if they somehow magically complete the two and get 2-3 more competent guys, they don't even have to be on the level of the Trae Young, but just similar to what they maybe were thinking John Collins could have been. I think they're 2 to 3 got those guys away from being a really good team in the East. And I think that's how the Hawks see it, in my opinion. I think the Hawks see it as, why do this and take a gamble on trying to build around just one of them when we still have both? Why not try and see, maybe we can eke something out of this? His contract isn't up, is it? At the deadline here at the end of the season?
It's another year, I think.
Yeah.
Wait,
so they're probably thinking, we got some time with this.
Murray's got like 3 years.
Yeah. If we make a move, if they make a move right now, what's that going to change between a move right now and a move in 2-3 years? This draft class isn't even looked that favorably. Yeah. So what are they really going to get out of it? Maybe some rising stars taking a gamble. You're already doing that right now.
Yep.
So maybe that's how they're seeing it. That's how I personally see the Hawks. I wouldn't move them I wouldn't move any of those guys unless one of them gave me Pascal Siakam back, and he's gone. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's get into these trades. Some of them we can pretty much just go through, not spend too much time on it here. First one, the Boston Celtics get Xavier Tillman from the Grizzlies, and the Grizzlies get Lamar Stevens, a 2027 second round, and a 2030 second round.
Are we doing them in order from like most recent, or what's the order here? Just so I can have the visual up next to me.
Back, right?
I'm going from the bottom up.
Got you. Okay, perfect.
So.
Got you. All right. So it was the Grizzlies trade you're talking about with Xavier Tillman and Lamar. Yep.
Yeah.
I'm going to jump on this. I actually think this is kind of big for the Celtics in the way if they just keep getting deeper with competent players, with good players. I mean, if you're the Celtics and if you don't win a chip this year, you're still pretty happy with your team come the next 2-3 years. Mm-hmm. And you still got many of guys who you can move if this doesn't work out, who you'll get some nice people back. Xavier Tillman is one of them. And you only give up 2 seconds in Lamar Stevens. I'm pretty happy with this if I'm the Celtics. If I'm the Grizzlies, I don't know.
Tillman's not going to win you a championship if you're the Grizzlies. So you are.
But they already lost their center. You're losing another center for
well,
a G League player basically in 2 seconds.
Centers.
Like,
they're not just leaving. They just shipped Steven Adams for Oladipo, which is not a great trade, but that's kind of the direction they're going. They're liquidating their young center. They are on everything must go. I don't know what their plan is, but they are selling everything.
I mean, I think it makes sense when you look at the injuries and stuff they've had and where they're at in the season that they're kind of just saying, screw it. Let's just get a high draft pick this year. Let's retool. And, I mean, they have the guy they're building around, right? They have their number one guy. They have their number two guy. They have probably their number three guy between Bane, Jaren Jackson. So they have their three guys. So I think this is just kind of moving some money off to set them up to retool.
I think this is a gamble, man. I do. I think with they're asking a lot for these next 2 years in free agency. They're really expecting to be able to land someone in my eyes with these kind of moves. And Memphis isn't a place where people go, I want to go there.
Yeah.
It's just not. It's not at all. And if you've been to Memphis, you know it's not really a place you want to go there unless you're like, that's the kind of player you are. There's not many of them. Yeah. And John Morant made sure of that. So, I mean,
Memphis is getting their stars. Memphis is getting their stars either through trading for guys that are on contract or drafting their players, which historically they've done pretty well in the draft, right? So I don't mind this move at all.
And they just retired Marc Gasol's number.
Yep. Moving on, this next one. The Detroit gave Monte Morris a key to the city, and then a week later traded him to the
Two
Timberwolves.
keys to the cities were traded, by the way.
And so the Timberwolves get Monte Morris, and the Pistons get Shake Milton, Troy Brown Jr., a 2032nd. I mean, cool for the Timberwolves, right? Like, they get a backup center, I guess, for this playoff run.
Did they? Monte Morris is a guard, isn't he?
Yeah, guard,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah.
I don't really know how much he plays, if at all, but cool. They got a guy.
They just moved Shake Milton and extra things to get back Shake Milton.
Yeah.
That's
in my eyes. Yeah, that's all they did. They lost things to get another Shake Milton. Like, I hate to say Monte Morris is a better defender and a slightly worse offensive player than Shake Milton.
And his name is not nearly as fun to say.
Yeah. No. I don't know. I don't know. If I'm the Pistons, I like this trade. I like it a lot. But that's just me. How do you feel, Josh?
Pretty indifferent. You know, it's a good move, I guess, if the Timberwolves feel like he's a better player. You know, but I think this is more kind of a roster crunch move than anything.
My thing is, like, what do you gain as the Timberwolves? You're already in the top of the Western Conference. This isn't. I don't believe this is a move to help them protect that. The Pistons gain assets. That's good for them, but move by the Wolves front office. I know that neither one of those guys are super important to the rotation. I'm not sure whether or not they're important to the locker room, right? But just those kinds of chemistry changes, even at that small of a level, if I feel like they're fixing something that isn't broken at this moment. It's a small trade, it's a minute trade, but what are you doing making changes for nothing?
And even just being a casual and looking at box score here, like just averages, all three of these guys average the exact same. And you traded one for
traded two for one.
Two for one.
Pick.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of this. I mean, it's not going to change much in my opinion of the Wolves. I do think, however, if injuries come in the playoffs, this trade may be looked at as like I mean, you could have had one other guy at least. So we'll see how it goes. I like Troy Brown on the Timberwolves, so I'm kind of upset to see him go, but it is what it is. Shake Milton's been a run around the league kind of guy his whole career anyway, so it's not surprising.
So next one, this was my biggest what the hell's going on? Toronto Raptors, they trade away Otto Porter Jr., Kara Lewis, and a 2024 first round pick for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know. Are you going to try to sell me that Ochai Agbaji's the OG Anunoby replacement? Because I don't think so. Isaiah, what do you?
Oh, found it.
What's going on in Toronto?
This is a mid-trade between mid-teams full of mid-players. This doesn't really move the needle for either one of them. What the hell are you doing is kind of all that they leave us to see here.
Yeah.
Now, granted, there's a world where maybe that pick becomes important. It is a first rounder. Is it protected? What I'm looking at here doesn't mention whether or not it's protected.
Yeah, so it's the least favorable. So basically the worst pick out of the Clippers, the Thunder, and Houston. So it's going to be a late first round, but it's still a first round pick for Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. I mean, I don't know. The Raptors started to seem like they were kind of going into a retool mode, and then this kind of goes back the other way, which is a little weird.
I like them getting Agbaji because they do get kind of. I look at that team and I think to myself, what's the Powell? Not Powell. Pirtle is their starting center, right?
Yep.
Is he a championship center? Is he a guy a few years from now you want around these guys that you have? Maybe, maybe not. Agbaji's a young guy. He showed flashes. Maybe they're just looking to get – I think, in my opinion, the Raptors should do probably what they're doing, and that's get as many of these young guys on their team for a year or two and just keep moving them in and out until something sticks and something doesn't. They have a direction with who they want, but there's no direction of how they're going to get there. and they might as well just keep plugging and playing until they get there. It's kind of what the Grizzlies are doing in a way. The Raptors get a little bit more leeway because they have their players there.
That's an interesting take. I like that.
Yeah. So moving on, probably I'd say the best player traded at the trade deadline, Buddy Hield. The 76ers get Buddy Hield. Pacers get Marcus Morris Sr. and Franklin Kormaz and 3 second-round picks. I know I butchered his name. Apologies.
Marcus Morris just got key of the city like last week as well in Philly before he got traded.
Yeah.
Did he really? Okay.
Yeah, he really did. Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's the other one I was talking about. Yeah, I mean, if I'm the Sixers, I like this move. You lose a little bit of depth, but at the end of the day, with Embiid on your team, I feel like the 76ers are always going to be in this weird space of thinking, will this year be the year we contend? Or will this year be the year Embiid just isn't going to be there? And they're always just going to be stuck thinking that. This is a guy who will get you buckets if Embiid's not there. And if Embiid is there, he'll just play better.
Yeah. Buddy Hield is everything you wanted Tobias Harris to be, but for millions of dollars cheaper.
And you still get to keep Tobias along with Maxey.
Toby.
Yeah, along with Maxey, Buddy Hield. You have Embiid, and you throw whoever you want right there. Korkmaz is the only guy besides Embiid who's been a Sixer since Embiid started there, so I'm glad to see him go. Marcus Morris is a guy that I think looked really good in the Sixers, but at the end of the day, didn't he come here on the Harden trade?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah. So I don't know how much they're really looking at. How much they're looking at keeping him, or how much they're looking at, hey, wait until this deadline's up, and that way we can get you traded off the team. So I don't know. I like it for the 76ers. I don't think it changes I don't think it rebalances anything in the East, though. I don't think it changes anything for either team. This trade.
I think, it just kind of solidifies that the 76ers are at the head of the tier of teams that will lose to the Celtics. I like having Buddy Hield. The Spurs get off with a couple extra assets here.
Pacers.
The Pacers grab a bunch of assets as well.
I disagree with the sentence about them being ahead of the teams to lose to the Celtics. I actually think after this deadline, the Sixers are the 4th best team in the East.
Behind
the Bucks and the Knicks are starting to win me over.
The Bucks got better with Patrick Beverly. Let's actually just go ahead and move on.
No,
it seems like we're done with the Hield trade.
Yeah,
no, we got to go in order. We got to go in order.
We are already gone out of order, I think.
No, he's doing ESPN order, not NBA order.
So, well, regardless, let's just move on.
Yeah.
This one's a quick one. Let's not even worry too much about this. This is how the Pacers, oh my God, the Pacers. The 76ers got a second-round pick, one of the 3 that they traded the Pacers. They moved Daniel House. And let's go. Okay, so this one for me, it meant a lot to me. Didn't really get the attention I thought it would. Oklahoma City trading for Gordon Hayward. The Charlotte Hornets gets.
They gave up the bag.
Well, okay. So Trey Mann, they gave up Micic and Bertans, plus I think it was 2 second.
In combined salary, it's a bag. But if you look at the players, the only one I was really looking forward to in the future was Trey Mann.
The thing is, though, is the Thunder, they just have too many guys. Trey Mann couldn't get on the court, and he deserves to get on the court.
Bertans is not like he's a scraper buyer in the NBA. He's a 3rd string center who's going to get a lot of minutes during the regular season. By a lot, I mean like he'll play a lot of games for like 8 minutes because that's he's there to get you to the playoffs, and then he doesn't play. And if you're a contending team with Bertans on your team, I'm confused. I'm happy they moved him here. Gordon Hayward gives some kind of experience because he doesn't have playoff experience, but he does give NBA experience to this young team. Does that give them an extra sense of we can contend because they have another guy? I don't think Gordon Hayward is the guy that's going to push you guys into like real contenders. I don't think you guys are fakers. I think the Thunder are punching exactly at their weight class, which is top of the West. Top of the West doesn't mean you're a championship team. I hate to say it.
Well, what I like about this trade
is
they give us a guy that can play in the playoffs, right? So say, the Thunder get into the first series and, teams are just leaving Giddy out on the perimeter and Giddy can't hit a freaking shot. Thunder like to play 5 out to open up things for Shea. Gordon Hayward's a guy that they can just bench Giddy, throw Hayward in, and he's going to space the floor, right? Like he's going to hit standstill shots. So I really like this move from them. And like I said, Micic was on kind of a crappy contract. He wasn't playing a lot. Trey Mann, I'm excited for him to go to Charlotte because he just seems like an all-around good player, good locker room guy, but just too much talent on this OKC roster for him to really get on the court and develop like he should be.
I agree. And before we continue, I just want to say Daniel House Jr. has been one of my favorite like no-name guys in the NBA for some years now.
Maybe 5 years ago.
What?
I said maybe 5 years ago.
When he was on the Harden team, it was fun.
Yeah.
And he's just always been a guy that just when he's out there, it's like, hey, it's Daniel House. Like that's my kind of guys that I look for in the NBA. I don't think he'll have a job anymore after this trade.
I don't think so.
He got traded for a pick and cash. That's pretty close to picks.
But like he's good. He's a decent defender. He's a decent 3-point shooter. But now he's going to the Pistons. He's not going to get touched on the floor. He's going to lose his job. Like, and it's sad. Like it's one of those trades where you look at it and go, this guy's future in the NBA is now on the line. Yeah. So that's one thing I wanted to say about the Daniel House trade.
So moving on from that, the Mavericks get Daniel Gafford.
Yep.
And they trade away Rashawn Holmes and draft compensation. It was, off the top of my head, I believe a 2nd-round pick to the Wizards.
Yep. This is such a freaking good trade. Like that guy averaged 3 and 3.
Yeah.
And you get back Daniel Gafford. I don't know. This is exactly what they needed on that team. It is confusing with Derek Lively, right? It's a pretty confusing. But it just makes them deeper. It just gives them more like solid NBA players, along with the other trade they made. They're a real contender in the West now because of Luka. And they still have Kyrie. Let's keep that in mind.
Yeah, Gafford looked good playing some backup minutes there the other night. So I guess we will skip around here a little bit just because we're on the Mavericks. The Mavericks also traded for PJ Washington, and they traded away Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a 2027 first-round pick. This is all of Dallas Mavericks' first-round picks until 2029, or 2028, excuse me. And, I mean, you have Luka. You got to do it, right? You got to just keep making these moves. You got to keep going. But
we talked about that last week.
But let's not forget they did just give a first-round pick up for Grant Williams this past offseason. And he didn't even make it through a full
And then they
season.
and that was after like a sign and trade, right? So he was given a bag.
Yeah.
In my eyes, they might have needed him to make this trade happen. They probably could have done it without him. They do lose a little bit. Seth Curry was pretty decent for them.
Yeah.
In decent minutes. Grant Williams was a shell of Celtics. Grant Williams on the Mavericks. I'm happy to see him go. Also, at the same time, like. All right, they clearly made a mistake before this season. Now they're trying to fix it. They fixed it the best they could. I'm still happy with this team. I think if any, I don't know. Even with this trade, the Mavericks are the best team to come out of this deadline of teams that made trades.
Over New York? You think so?
Okay, maybe not New York, but all right, maybe not New York. I forgot they made that trade.
Are they? Is it just me, or the Mavericks kind of starting to feel like the Cavs the first time they had LeBron? Where you're trading away your whole future for the guy, and you just keep plugging in players next to him that just don't work. And then all of a sudden, at some point, Luka's going to look around and say, hey, what else do we have to trade? This team isn't good enough, and we have nowhere to go from here, and I'm out. I mean, it seems pretty realistic, Isaiah.
I mean, yeah, you hit the nail on the head. The Cavs historically had a rough front office pre-LeBron. They went through decades of plug and play, making terrible deals. Stipend was the guy that they named the rule where you can't trade your first round picks. They named
Yep.
that after the Cavs GM. You
That's
get a guy,
fact.
you get a generational guy, you don't know what to do with him, but you do everything you can to keep him happy. It's almost like GMs should be like a good boss. They should be developing a relationship with these stars and making a good environment for them. Sometimes GMs get caught with their pants down, and it looks like they're trying to take care of an alien baby. You know, where a baby can't really tell you what it needs or that you need to do this, that, or the third, but it can communicate to you that it's unhappy and that it's not safe and that it's not having a good time. And so you're pulling your hair out trying to make this little thing happy. I think that's exactly where the Mavericks are heading. Now, granted, they could be one or two moves away where their roster right now is pretty fluid in identity, where it is Luka and the gang, Luka and Kyrie and the gang. That's about it. They don't have any identity outside of the fact that they help those two guys. I really like that they pick up the center and Daniel Gafford. He seems like a very Dallas type of center. You pick up another wing. You pick up a four. You've got a competitive roster. Not as deep as everybody else, but you're freaking competitive. And I think that's where they're at, where the Cavs weren't quite at. Because the Cavs were just LeBron and bums. And I do mean bums. Zaldrinas Ilgauskas is great, and we remember him fondly, but LeBron put Zaldrinas Ilgauskas in a position where he's remembered favorably instead of just some big giant Serbian guy or Slovenian guy, whatever type of European he is.
Yeah.
Drew Gooden was one of LeBron's best teammates. They have guys better than Drew Gooden in Dallas right now. So I think they are dangerously close to slipping there. I just don't want to put that in the air. You know, I don't want to see that happen.
Yeah. So this one of the bigger trades. We have the New York Knicks getting Bogdanovich and Alec Burks, and the Pistons get Evan Fournier, Malachi Flynn, Quentin Grimes, 2 second-round picks. I mean,
You want to know a number I want to know? I want to know how many players on roster the Pistons have had this year. They are just the new G League. There's like the
Over
NBA.
or under
there's
25
the
before I look it
Pistons
up?
G League. Over, guaranteed.
Over,
They've
for
had
sure.
more than 25 on roster this year. It's crazy. I don't know. Like they get 4 players from this trade, and I can see one that gets playing time.
I mean, Quentin Grimes, he could turn into something cool.
Yeah.
But for the Knicks, man, this is a pretty big addition.
Are the
This is
Pistons
pretty
just
big.
getting fleeced?
Yes and no. I mean, now the Pistons did also cut Killian Hayes, who's another guard, a young guard. So I guess maybe they feel like, hey, Quentin Grimes, there's something there. Bojan and Alec Burks, you're not really going to get much for those guys individually. Package them together. Evan Fournier's contract's going to expire. Malachi Flynn's contract is going to expire. I mean, it's the Pistons,
Yeah.
I mean, I think more so we should be really looking at New York and what this adds to them.
It adds for New York, sure, right? They definitely need the depth. But I think New York's biggest issue at this point is really just that their stars aren't as good as everybody else's stars. They're not as deep as the Celtics. That's okay because the Celtics are like really, really deep. You can't kick yourself for not being able to compete depth-wise with the deepest team we've seen probably this decade in the last 4 years. That being said, Alec Burks, Bojan, Bogdanovich, solid players, sure, but you're still being led by Jalen Brunson. You might be able to count on Julius Randle. OG's hurt. I think we're overhyping how good this trade is for the Knicks.
I think this is great. This is beyond just straight depth for them. This is them looking at a playoff series and going, oh, we actually need to run an extra guy here. We need another shooter over here, and that can also stretch to a 4 and a 3. Oh, we need another guard who's big and can handle and can shoot. Alec Burks has been shooting well. And they lose who? They lose Quentin Grimes,
Scrubs.
who's going to they lose Quentin Grimes and Evan Fournier, who both of these guys can do those, exactly what you're going to get from them, but they're bigger and they have more experience. I think this just adds to their depth. I think they lose a lot more players in this, but most of those guys in a playoff series should never get minutes.
And a lot of these
and a lot of these contending teams should look at the trade deadline and say, all right, time to get these guys out of here that are not going to be here. It's going to hurt them during the end of the season, 100%.
Well, for sure.
But this just adds to their rotation.
It's good that they cleaned house, right? I'm happy for them that they got that done. But I don't think that either one of the guys that they picked up are enough to, let's go back to last season. I know the team is different than they were last season, but let's go back to where they lost to the Heat in 6. Right? It was a 6-game series versus the Heat. Did either one of these guys push them over the Heat? Now, granted, they have OG, which they didn't have last year, but even that trio, does that trio push them over the Heat in last year's series?
Yeah.
The Heat aren't even the guys to beat.
Yeah, they beat the Heat.
Possibly.
Yeah, possibly. I mean, the Heat are way worse than last year, and they also... OG Anunoby solves 90% of the Knicks' problems from last year, and has proved that he does that this year. I don't know. I mean, it's apples and oranges. Who could say? But I do know that looking at Knicks Heat now, I think you're crazy if you think the Heat beat the Knicks in any 7-game series.
Yeah, the Heat haven't had as an eventful 12 months that the Knicks have had as far as growing and trying to improve that roster, but I still don't think that this puts them over anybody that... This puts them over the teams that we said at the beginning of the season they'd compete with. This puts them over Cleveland, who's performing really well right now, but I think in a series they beat Cleveland. They beat Brooklyn. They beat Miami even. They beat the Scrubs. They still lose to Boston, and I think they give Milwaukee a series.
I think that's fair as well.
That's all fair.
It's
all fair.
As that is, I don't know if that, as far as the bigger picture is concerned, after they got OG, I think they were in that exact same boat. I think they were still going to lose to the Bucks or the Celtics, and that's it.
I hear what you're saying, but I think the same way with plug and play with a lot of these young teams, I think you're still doing that as these contending teams, where you're trying to plug and play just to find the right guys for the right year. Knicks don't have to win it this year for this to be a winning year for them, for this to be a good year. If they can end this year, like this is actually going to be this is our core, this is our squad, this is our 5 guys, our 8 guys. Next year, we're just going to do our best to iron out whatever kind of reinforcements we can for those guys. Mm-hmm. I think that's a winning year for them. The only teams in my eyes that have to win this year out of the East are the Celtics and the Bucks.
Yeah,
and you could argue that Philly has to make it to the finals, but Celtics and the Bucks have to win a chip this year. That's it. Anybody else, you're not a failure of a year. You could argue Embiid himself has to make it to the finals, but besides that, every other team is. I mean, I'm not upset.
As a Philly fan, we don't even want the finals. We just want the freaking conference finals, man. We want to beat round 2. We want to get past level 2 in the playoff video game. Is what we want to do.
Yeah. So we're already at 33 minutes. We're going to save the Beverly trade and the Royce O'Neal just because that might actually be worth talking about.
Uneventful.
Yeah. Okay. So cool.
I like Royce O'Neal to the Suns, man. I don't know. That's a great trade, and it shows that they clearly had no idea what they're talking about in preseason, thinking they're a deep team because they traded away like half those guys already.
Yeah,
it's fine. We'll save that and Beverly for last. Let's just rapid fire through some of these.
Okay.
Pacers get Corey Joseph, and Golden State Warriors get a 2nd-round pick. Okay,
good trade.
Cool. Blazers get Daniel Banton from the Celtics, and the Celtics get a heavily protected 2nd-round pick. Okay.
They're just looking to get picks back. Yeah.
Yeah. 76ers, this is how they got one of the 3 2nd-round picks. They trade away Jaren Springer to the Celtics. Cool. He's
I like
an okay player. I like
another depth piece and a young depth piece for the Celtics.
In a year that they're expected to win it all. Adding the depth is cool. The Bucks, they break up one of the twin packages. They send away Robin Lopez for cash.
The only one they're allowed to break up, by the way.
Whenever you get traded for cash, that's not a great sign. Yeah,
Unless
Yeah.
you're Kyle Korver, apparently.
yeah. I think Deanna
Ron Lopez was
Antetokounmpo-
funny at the deadline for that hour and 40 minutes. He was Pat Bev's teammate.
Yeah. Giannis Antetokounmpo is probably the second most untouchable player in the NBA, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
And let's see. Okay, we got one more. The Pacers got Doug McDermott, and the Spurs got a 2029 second and Marcus Morris. The four.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. It's
You
not
know,
bad.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into this Royce O'Neal trade real quick. I don't think we have to spend too much time on it, but the Suns get Royce O'Neal and David Roddy, who is a fun as hell player to watch.
Yes, he is. Light skinned Jesus.
Yep.
Gotta keep going, yeah.
The Nets get Jordan Goodwin and Keita Bates-Diop.
Yeah.
And the Grizzlies get Utah Watanabe and Metsu.
I think I just want to point this out. KD is just bringing back the teammates he liked from the Nets to the Suns.
Yeah.
That's all he's doing. And these are the good ones. These are the ones I like.
I like
Royce O'Neal is the one I like. Yeah.
For him and Roddy, those are both guys that can play minutes in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Which
They now have
Suns
7 guys who can play in the playoffs.
They
It's
just
fun time.
desperately need bodies that can actually survive and not get played off the court in a playoff round.
Yep.
Isaiah, you got anything on it?
No, yeah, that's why I was like, it's really, I don't even know if uneventful is the right word. It's just, I don't know if, no, I think uneventful is the right word because it's not that these aren't going to be impactful. The Suns need the depth. They need the guys that can survive in the playoffs, but
I mean, you're not wrong. It will be unimpactful. What Metsu and Diop have a potential to impact the team in a regular season once
that's
in
what
their
I'm
career.
saying.
Well, the
Royce
Suns-
O'Neal is
the
the
Suns are
only
the
one
only
who
team
is for
that
sure an
matters
impact.
in this
Yeah.
trade. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
No, I agree.
last one we got, and we'll flip
The second
this
to last,
Isaiah first.
we had Dinwiddie's trade,
Oh, okay, right, yeah.
and he's on the Lakers now. By the way,
Yeah,
Mhm.
I mean, this was just kind of weird. Spencer Dinwiddie and gets moved from Brooklyn, and the Nets get Dennis Schroeder and Thaddeus Young.
yeah, they moved 2 old guys off their team because
Yeah.
Schroeder's 30. I like it,
Yeah, it's fine.
and then bought out Dinwiddie. I mean, I don't get it, but they're making money for the future. That's cool,
Yeah.
I guess.
And Dinwiddie ends up on the Lakers. Cool, good for him.
Isaiah
he's a fun
Quickly's
guy to
job
watch.
got like 3 times harder now.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And so last one here, we'll flip this to Isaiah. The Bucks got Patrick Beverly, and the 76ers got Cameron Payne and the 2027 second round pick. A little surprised the 76ers giving up a guy like Pat Bev, but
W trade for both teams.
okay.
I think the pick is what makes it worth giving up Pat Bev if you're the Sixers, right? Campaign is a good guard. He's not a great guard. He's young. He's moldable still. I think he fits their system pretty good. He doesn't do anything that the 76ers aren't doing. You know what I'm saying? It's not like he's not going to fit their system or he's not really going to get minutes. He's going to be a backup guard. That's exactly what they need out of him. Pat freaking Bev to the Milwaukee Bucks, though.
Exactly what they needed.
That's exactly
That is everything that they needed. He's Drew Holiday, except you gotta make sure you keep his shots up with the vet.
Okay, hold on.
Yeah, no, he's
We
not
can't
as good as
disrespect
Drew.
Drew Holiday like
Not
that.
as good as Drew.
Maybe,
Rabid defender. Damian Lillard is going to do everything that you need him to do offensively. We've seen that. The team is finding its function and its identity. But when you still have the meat and potatoes of Giannis and Dame on the same team, like that is effective. And when you put somebody like Pat Bev next to him, it really helps hide Damian Lillard's weaknesses. Dame came over to Milwaukee and they dropped off on team defense. They were not as good defensively as a team. I'm really hoping this nips that in the bud, so that way Doc Rivers gets to have the season that he needs to have. Because the Bucks are on thin ice right now. They have to do something. They've got too much going on. And this is the move that they needed to make.
I mean, all right. I agree that they needed this. I don't know how much this changes the Bucks for me. Because ideally, you're telling me in crunch time, you're going to run Dame and Pat Bev on the floor at the same time against this modern NBA where guards are bigger. I don't get it. I've never been high on Pat Bev. He's a great defender. He'll help them out a lot. But if I'm the Celtics, I'm licking my fingers if you have that guy on the floor at the same time as Dame.
Especially at
And
his age.
exactly.
If this was, Houston, Pat Bev guarding Russell Westbrook in the playoffs, I could feel it a little bit more, but
Yeah.
it's
I
just
don't
don't
want
know.
to be this guy, bro. I don't want to be this guy. Pat Bev's just gonna help out the locker room. I don't know a playoff series he's really gonna impact like that. If they play the Heat, maybe he'll impact it, but that's about it.
I think he'll help out. I do think it's a little overhyped. I feel like his name kind of carries more than what he actually does on the floor still, but I still like it a lot for the Bucks. But yeah, unless you guys got anything you want to mention, that wraps it up for the trade deadline.
I think that with this Bucks team, right, Pat Bev doesn't have to necessarily guard any team's best player. It's not like they're going to be putting him out 48 minutes a game. He's just got to guard. He's got to guard in pivotal sequences. He's got to guard a team's best guard, not their best player, just their best little guy. And I can't really think of too many people in the East that are just going to abuse that. Like Jalen Brunson is probably going to give Pat Bev fits, right? Jaylen Brown very well may give Pat Bev fits.
I'm not worried about who is giving Pat Bev trouble. I'm worried about the fact that this trade does not give you the biggest problem, the biggest weakness of yours does not help that at all. You still can't hide Damian Lillard with a Pat Bev trade. Yeah. You cannot hide Damian Lillard with a Pat Bev trade because Pat Bev can only guard the guys that Dame's going to be guarding. And if he's not guarding those guys, Dame isn't going to guard Drew. I hate to say it. And they're going to end up getting a switch probably for Jaylen Brown on him. I don't like the ideal world that the Bucks are setting up for themselves in the playoff series where you have Dame and Pat Bev on the court at the same time. If he was strictly to come off and help that bench unit defensively, it'd be a different story. But in an ideal world, that's their best defensive lineup.
Yeah.
And if it's not, it's Malik Beasley with Pat Bev. And then who's shooting on that team besides Beasley? Giannis won't be doing it. Lopez look like a shell of himself. I mean, I think this helps. I just don't think it's that big of a help.
All right. I could be high on it. I like it.
Yeah.
Before we go to the draft, I do want to I just want to go over some of these signings that happened as well. Just a few of them. Specifically, Bismack Biyombo, Gibson, and Spencer Dinwiddie were all on the same day. Biyombo goes to the Thunder. I was high on Biyombo early on the Suns this year, so I like to see that. They're still keeping Gibson on the Knicks. Super old dude, but has done nothing but be amazing for Thibodeau's system. And Dinwiddie on the Lakers. I think that's going to change a lot of things on that Lakers team. And you're a Thunder guy. Is that Bismack Biyombo signing going to help out much for this Thunder team?
Maybe. I mean, during the regular season, sure.
He's not going to be a rotational guy, you don't think, in the playoffs? Got you.
I mean, if he is, it's going to be 4 minutes a game. It's going to be something like that. It's not going to be.
Am I crazy for being high on Spencer Dinwiddie to the Lakers?
I mean, the Lakers just need anybody. They need somebody else to come and handle the ball and just, kind of run the offense. And I mean, Dinwiddie's still a guy that can drop 20, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, not consistently, not when he wants to, but he'll still do it.
Yeah.
I think the fact that the Lakers signed Dinwiddie and they didn't have to trade for him helps out his impact a little more. It's a lot easier to come in and fill a role if a team doesn't have to give up anything but money for you to fill that role.
Yeah.
Losing DeJounte Murray for the Hawks would be cool because they would get stuff back, but they also lose a defensive ball handler. But with the Lakers, they are notorious for signing guys, plugging them in next to LeBron, the team pretty much functioning the exact same way it does, but they end up in a couple spots where those guys they signed either really get to shine or they get to stink. Like D'Lo looked really cool at points in the playoffs, Russell Westbrook showed us just how bad he was for the team in the playoffs at different points, but it's still the same Lakers. I don't hate Dinwiddie. I think if any team is going to make him valuable and useful, it'll be LA.
Yeah. And the last one, this signing kind of makes me think the Sixers should regret trading away Pat Bev and getting campaign. Kyle Lowry signs to the 76ers. I like it for him, but like him and campaign, they kind of going to do the same thing for you. But I like it a lot, actually, for that team. I think it's going to help out a lot with Maxi's growth. And I want to see Kyle Lowry end his career still on a good team.
Yes.
And he's going home.
Hornets.
He's from Philly.
Yeah.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Played high school and everything there, so
Got you. I had no
cool
clue.
to see for him.
All right. Quick, Josh, 1 through 3. Pick a number.
3.
Two. Isaiah.
Isaiah. All right, perfect. That is the order of the picks here, guys. Is 1, 2, and 3. Here we go.
I was gonna say.
Here's our draft board.
Cool.
I can zoom in a little bit.
Perfect.
Move it
right
around. Right there.
Yep.
Perfect. I have my notepad on the side. I'll pull it up at the end. But for the time being, we'll just do our best to remember. I think I can. Give me 1 second. See if I can. Can I draw on this? Is that possible? Oh no! All right. We're not gonna draw. We're just gonna leave it how it is. Cool. Let's get it. I'll have our teams on the sides here. I'll pull it up here towards the end. The main reason why we're doing this is I don't know if you guys watched this draft live, the Panini Rising Stars event draft, or have seen it at all. They didn't know how to pronounce most of these players' names, so I hope that you guys remember how to pronounce a lot of these guys' names. And they picked a guy from Team USA dead last, and they after they got past Jalen Williams, they stopped knowing how the guys play. I think the only one that they knew how played was Shaden Sharp. Besides him, they're like, yeah, he's gonna get you buckets.
So besides Podozemski, whose name did they butcher?
Koulibaly. The funniest one to me was what's the dude? He's on here. Oh, Jaime Jaquez. Yeah, they called him Jamie Jaquez or something like that.
No,
they didn't. I swear to God, you go watch it. I promise on everything.
All right.
It was kind of sad. But I'm gonna go first here. We're doing snake draft. So 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. This is obvious. I'm gonna go with Wemby. Isaiah.
Fair. Yeah, I can't be mad at you. We are going to roll into... Give me a big old scoop of Scoot Henderson.
Oh.
Okay.
Go ahead, Josh. Take the 2 easiest picks of your life.
Chet and Paolo?
Yep.
Give me Brandon Miller.
Okay. All right. I'm going to take Jalen Williams. And
right.
I didn't think this far ahead. You took Brandon Miller?
Mm-hmm.
Wait, you picked twice in a row?
Yeah, it's snake draft. You did 2, so it's 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1. Yep. I don't got any guards. Give me Benedict Mathurin.
Oh, I was gonna say who are you?
Give me Jalen Duren.
Wait, did somebody take Jabari?
No, that was the guy. So I was looking at taking. Yeah.
So give me Jabari. Oh man, I guess
same draft class.
I need to kind of take a guard, but I don't want to take a guard. I mean, if I have to, I do like how Keontae George has played, so I'll take him.
All right.
Give me Walker Kessler.
Oh, okay, that's a good one. All right. Give me Keegan Murray.
He stayed on here way too late.
Yeah, he did. I thought you were about to take him right after Jabari Smith. And give me.
If you take them, I'll cut your brakes.
I probably won't. Give me Shaden Sharp.
Yep, I'm cutting your brakes.
All right, so
Go
I
ahead,
got
Isaiah. No, it's Isaiah's next.
Oh.
Isaiah's next. I'll tell you your team right after. Isaiah, if you need a team recap, you
Give
have
me
Scoot,
Ivy.
Brent, Jaden Ivy. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
all right. So who's left at this point?
All right. So
Koulibaly,
Koulibaly, Dyson
Podziemski.
Daniels, Jordan Hawkins, Derek Lively,
Is Jaime still available?
Jaime, Brandon,
Brandon who?
Podziemski.
Oh,
I
Brzezinski.
forget you. I got the Podziemski and Kason Wallace. That's all.
All right. Give me Jaime and Casey.
Oh, I like that. Isaiah?
There's only one guy left, or no? Give me.
No,
Hawkins,
we have
and then that
we
leaves
have
you
we
with
have
one guy left,
Koulibaly,
right?
Dyson Daniels, Jordan Hawkins. That's not it. There, Derek Lively, and Podziemski.
Give me Hawkins.
All right. I can't believe he went this far down. I'm gonna take Lively,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and then I'm gonna follow it up with. Do I take the guy who's been balling out or the rookie who looks like a lock? Do I need another guard? Yeah, might as well. I'll take Dyson Daniels.
Give me
Okay.
Koulibaly.
Yep, good pick. And
Then I'm
I
left
think-
with the last two.
you're left with Podziemski. No, that's it.
Did
7
somebody take
players
Hawkins?
each. No. Yeah,
Okay,
he
then-
did. He did.
Oh.
Isaiah did.
Okay.
So
So
here's our teams, guys. Here's our teams. Josh's team is Chet Holmgren, Paolo Banchero, Jabari Smith, Keontae George, Jaime Jaquez, Kason Wallace, and Brandon Podziemski. Isaiah's is Scoot Henderson, Brandon Miller, Jalen Duran, Walker Kessler, Jaden Ivey, Jordan Hawkins, and Michael Koulibaly. And mine is Wembanyama, Jalen
Michael.
Williams.
Michael Koulibaly.
Oh, I meant to say Bilal, whatever. Wemby, Jalen Williams, Benedict Mathurin, Keegan Murray, Shaden Sharp, Derek Lively, and Dyson Daniels. I think we probably all think we have the best team, but if you guys had to pick one that isn't your own, who are we going here?
I'll go Chet because you took Shaden Sharp and Benedict Mathurin right as I was about to take both of them. So that's 2 break lines you have to replace. 2 break lines.
That's
Yeah.
fair. Can't make it to the game without breaks.
I mean, I'm just taking whatever team Wemby's on. Whoever got
I hear
Wemby.
that.
So
I hear
That's
that.
all
I think we were all looking like an L as soon as you got given Chet and Paolo back to back. The first 4 picks in order were Wemby, Paolo Banchero, Chet, Jalen Williams.
yeah.
So we went a little differently, but I mean we didn't do that bad. We didn't have too many guys at the very end that felt like they needed to be left. Maybe Derek Lively, you can argue, or Jaime at 5th pick is like what? There's a lot of good
Yeah,
guys here.
I was happy with that.
Yeah, we didn't leave any Team USA guys on the end. I'm happy with the draft. I'm happy with how it went. I will no longer watch any ESPN drafts or any of the such because yeah, man, what can I say? It's hard to watch. I don't think
Okay.
they know what they're doing.
Jaime, okay. Getting Jaime Jaquez's name that wrong is just like, I'm not saying this guy's an all-star or anything, but he's literally 3rd in Rookie of the Year, like clear cut.
Yeah,
And it's like, that's pretty bad. That's pretty bad.
yeah. Before we go, do we want to make any predictions for who's going to win the contests here, the 3-point contest?
Steph in it?
No, he's
I don't-
only competing against what's her name.
Yeah.
Sabrina.
I want Lori Markkinen to win. That's
Yeah,
what
I think that's what you said last time as well. Yeah,
Yep. Stretch.
Yeah. I think,
I
oh, yeah, we did this last time. Okay.
yeah,
I think
that's, I think I picked Dame too. And
I
then
want
the
Jaylen
dunk
Brown to win.
contest, guys.
Dunk
Jalen Brown.
contest.
Yeah.
Otherwise, stars will never do it ever again.
Yeah. I
Yes.
also want Jaylen Brown. Yep, that's fair. And have you guys had the chance to see the celebrity game? Besides
Nope,
the
don't
stupid
care.
floor.
Just the
They-
floor is all I've seen.
Yeah, they every year they get less and less celebrities that I know, and that's pretty bad because
Are you
I'm
just getting old?
I'm
Or are
into
you picking
entertainment.
It's
bad
a lot of
guys?
like Twitch guys, right?
I mean, there's Kai Cenat.
Give me the list.
There's all right. Here you go. Do your fingers of how many you know. Let's just do that, and if you can get to 10, I'll say I'm wrong.
Okay.
Okay. And well, AA. Kai Cenat. There's one.
That's
Yep.
definitely no.
Connor Daly. Walker Hayes. Quincy Isaiah. Jewel Lloyd. Micah Parsons.
know who
Lily
Micah
Singh.
It's an NBA NFL player, Micah Parsons.
Sir. There's 2 for me. Dylan Wang. That's an entire team. We have 1 team left. How many fingers y'all have up? I have 2.
Two. I knew
Yeah.
Parsons and Kai.
This next one is going to gift you 2 of them if you're into basketball. Ready? Meta World Peace.
Okay.
Okay. Jack Ryan. CJ Stroud. Gianmarco Tamberi. Adam Blackstone. Natasha Cloud. Jennifer Hudson. Tristan Jass. That's that T-Jazz guy from YouTube that does all the layups and shit. AJ McLean. Kwame Onwachi. I knew 3 guys. 4 guys. I knew
Kai
4.
Cenat,
I knew 5.
Micah
Yeah, I knew Kai
Parsons,
Cenat, Sir, Meta World
Wait.
Peace, and Tristan
World
Jass.
Peace, CJ Stroud.
CJ Stroud, the
Jennifer
football player,
Hudson.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I
he
don't-
just played for the
Okay.
Texans.
Okay. Yeah, the Texans quarterback. Okay.
Jennifer Hudson, T-Jazz. That's 7.
That's 7 out
Yeah.
of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
20?
Out
7
of-
out of 20? That's crazy.
7 out of 20. Yeah, that's
I-
pretty bad, dude. And this is supposed to be like this. You remember when this used to be like hype? Remember when we had like Snoop Dogg here? We had even the
Pharrell
Quavo
Owens,
days were.
we had that
You
weird
know
guy
what?
From Arcade
I
Fire.
hate to say it. I hate to say it because those were corny times. Kevin Hart killed the All-Star game. But that being said, they were at least fun to watch, and it was at least even fun to watch. Whatchamacallit? I don't know. I just read a message. But anyways, that is
What they
what's
should
up?
do, and I'll leave us with this suggestion.
Okay.
Right? This should be the last time ever that the NBA only has 1 celebrity game. They need an internet and a actual celebrity game. They need a creator game like they do with House of Highlights.
But those better be real basketball creators. I don't want to see.
Yes, Devontae
Yeah.
Friga goes to those. You've got
Yeah, let's see
your
people like that.
athletic guys like Duke Dennis. You've got YPK Ray that'll play in those games.
There's no reason they need that. No, they need if they want us to be fun, they need to bring in those people that do the where all the rappers get teams. They need to just get those rappers to play. Just the rappers.
Oh,
Yeah.
ugh.
They need to just get those guys. That would at least be fun to watch. Like I hate that. That'd be better than seeing a bunch of random people that are like from international places that I've never heard of my entire life. And I'm like, why are you here? This isn't fun anymore.
Hold on, Lily Singh. That's 8 that I recognize. I don't feel like I'm that in touch, and I still got 8.
But these aren't most of these aren't celebrities who care about
I got-
basketball. Who
I got
want to play
5.
basketball. That's
And it was really 4
bad.
because I didn't know Jennifer Hudson. I just like knew her name, but I didn't know what she
Yeah,
did or anything. I had
fucking American Idol.
yeah, I just knew her name.
yeah. So there we go. And she's American Idol girl. It's going to be in the celebrity game, guys. So can't wait to watch riveting basketball.
What if she
That's my
is,
point, bro. It's going to be the worst thing ever.
They need. I liked it when it was.
This weekend is dying.
athletes. Like
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's fine. I agree with
the
that.
NFL guys that come over and can
I like that.
basketball. Your
That's cool.
Terrell Owens, your Chad
Terrell Owens was fun.
Yeah.
Terrell, you get more entertaining people from stuff. I guess they're trying to sell tickets, dog. They have metrics that we don't have on like
It's-
who's buying their stuff. You know,
They went to Indiana and
It's
said,
for
what celebrities should we get?
Man, it's for the kids. I remember last year
What
at Summer
kids know
League.
any of these people, you know?
There were probably, I mean, maybe, but I just
probably know more.
I'm thinking about like at Summer League, they had this guy walking around, and like a bunch of kids were running up and asking him for an autograph. Some jester guy,
Oh yeah,
some YouTube guy.
Yeah,
Like,
he goes and tries out for teams and never makes it.
Yeah, I was like, I have no clue who this fucking guy is. Excuse me.
You're good.
No clue who this guy is, but yeah, little kids running up to him asking for an autograph. I thought that was weird. But
yep. All right. Well, let's get to closing the show, guys. Once again, if you're watching us on our YouTube, please do hit that follow button or subscribe, whatever it is on YouTube. And hit the bell. We'll be live every single time we do these live. And this way, we can cut the middleman. Don't even got to upload straight there. I can do it straight from the live. So it's a beautiful thing. And if you're following us and watching us on Twitch, hit that follow button every Monday, tip off. And if you've been watching throughout the show, you've seen all the other times for other shows, Friday 8:30 and Wednesday at 8 p.m. We'll be back, guys. Stay hooping.